What's going on, everyone? Togavor here, and this is going to be a very different type of video than you might usually expect from me, but it actually won't really be much of a video functionally speaking. It'll be more of a talking while there's a black screen and maybe nothing happening in the background, but yeah, so today's an interesting day in the world. You know, you guys probably know that Inauguration Day is today, and I just saw something that my good friend Tup posted. He posted a video, which I agreed really with for the most part, like very strongly with for the most part. And, you know, I like talking about these kinds of things and wanted to leave some of my own thoughts. It's something I've been considering for a while regardless, so I thought I would just leave this as sort of a response to his video. I'm also currently driving right now, so if there's background noise of a car, that is why. But yeah, so Trump's being inaugurated. Actually, his speech starts in like 8 minutes, and I want to listen, so gotta wrap this up pretty quickly. But basically, if you didn't watch Tump's video, the link's in the description. You should definitely go watch it. It's kind of centered around this idea of that today, you know, in today's world, country, Pokemon community, however you want to frame the conversation, that there's a lack of real civility between people who disagree. And I definitely agree with that. I definitely feel that that is the case, and it's pretty disgusting. And that this kind of, you know, way that people antagonize each other when they disagree with each other is really really hurtful. Not only in our own Pokemon community, but if you want to take it bigger, it's hurtful to our country. It's hurtful to our democracy. I totally get all of that. Also, I just thought it was really funny that something that Tup said was that if you don't do that and you're just out there to hurt people, you're a pretentious douche. Just like to acknowledge right now that I'm a self-proclaimed pretentious douche. So yeah, I don't know. maybe that'll make more sense after you hear my take on things. Not that I don't agree with his message. And a lot of this is going after, I think, what Tup's video could be perceived as. I don't actually know his own intent behind it completely, so I do apologize, Tup, if you're watching this and I don't necessarily get your intent right, but it's not as much about your intent as about similar things that I see from other people who say similar kinds of things, but I feel like part of that message has the potential, if it gets taken up widespreadly enough, to be really damaging. And that's this idea that I don't necessarily think Tup fully articulated, so I don't know if it's what he believes again. But this idea that we need to, that it's okay, not that it's not okay to disagree with someone, but that, you should just be okay to disagree with someone no matter what their beliefs are, because everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And I am okay with that to a certain extent. And I don't think that anyone's opinion, no matter how uninformed, no matter how hateful their opinion is, it doesn't warrant a hateful response. I'm never for that. And I think that was the intent of Tup's video. So I don't necessarily think Tup falls into this category that I'm talking about. But what I see a lot of is I see people who have opinions, whether they're uninformed or just come out of a certain way of being brought up and raised, that really do, whether the intent is there or not, have the impact, if they're taken to their fullest extreme, of causing hate and causing systematic oppression. And so, and an example of this would be people who think that Black Lives Matter protests shouldn't be allowed to happen. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole Black Lives Matter argument because that's completely different. I understand that it's controversial. I understand that sometimes they turn violent, though I think almost always it's not the movement as a whole. It's just certain people there, a lot of times not even associated with Black Lives Matter. And I'm already going down the rabbit hole, as you can see. But it's the idea that people have the right to have uninformed or hateful opinions. And it's just okay to disagree with them and not call them out on it. And I think it's true that people are entitled to their own opinions, whether or not you like it or not. But I think as a good person, you also have the same responsibility to share your own opinion and have a civil debate about it. Now, I'm totally just rambling here, and this could be not making any sense, but I think it's almost like debate in and of itself, disagreement, I think, is essential to any community, to any family, to any country, to any political climate. I think the important part is that it's civil, and I think that is what Tup was really driving at, because I think there's a huge lack of civility in all different levels of our society, and that's a massive issue, because as Tup was saying, instead of debating on those substantive issues, people are just calling each other names, saying how wrong they are, which I think is the core problem. But you want to look at it as an opportunity for learning through both sides. Personally, I love talking to people who I disagree with. I think that it's an opportunity for me to learn a different perspective than my own, so I'm not stuck in my, liberal white Portland bubble, because I am guilty of that myself lots and lots of times. And I also see it as an opportunity to share my own experience with people, which has all kinds of interesting things that other people may have not experienced in their lives. So I think I see disagreement in and of itself, as long as it's civil, as a massive opportunity for learning and growth. And I don't think it's seen that way, and I don't think it's treated that way. But I think that in and of itself is a huge problem, because if you look at it, the reason why part of the reason anyways, that I feel like these disagreements aren't civil is because people don't know what they're talking about. And they don't know how to have an intelligent conversation that takes in multiple viewpoints. And so I think for that to be able to happen, to get past the bluster, you have to first be willing to ask questions to the people who you disagree with, so you can understand their bluster and their anger. Because even if it's not necessarily from things you agree with, or you don't agree with the fact that they have that bluster, it doesn't mean that their feelings and their anger isn't legitimate. Because I think no matter the scale, it is most of the time. And if you want to look at this at its biggest possible scale, right, of people's opinions and thoughts getting better by people's honest and direct, but not insulting dissent and disagreement, you can look at the Supreme Court, right? It's a huge example, but there's all kinds of examples of Justice Ginsburg saying, now dead, but former Justice Scalia, his dissents often making her majority opinions better and stronger and more well thought out, and vice versa. Now, I'm not saying that every average citizen of the United States needs to, be able to understand the issues to the complexity of the Supreme Court justices, but I think that it is important that people have that fundamental principle in their minds, that the people are able to take in those different viewpoints, and instead of coming at these conversations that when people disagree or spew hateful language, instead of starting those conversations as, I'm right, you're wrong, how can I prove you wrong? Coming from this viewpoint of of curiosity and understanding and love, as Tup said, and this idea that the truth is somewhere in the middle, and that neither of us have this perfectly right. 99% of the time, no one person, no two people have it perfectly right, but it's through that discussion with other people and through that learning that people come closer and closer towards any shred of actual truth. And I think that is something that's lost. And I don't necessarily know how to fix it, but for my own self, that's my diagnosis of, you can say, of the human condition, of the body politic, of the Pokemon community, whatever, and all of this, and acting like I have it all figured out. Even this in and of itself example, where I'm happy for anyone who wants to have this same philosophical discussion with me to, take it up with me and have a real discussion about it. I'm totally interested in doing that. It's one of my favorite things to do. So this video got long and rambly. I hope it made some sense. I hope you enjoyed. So anyways, that's it. That's my addition to Thoughtful Thursday. Well, it's Friday now. But anyways, I'm Togavor. You're yourself. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace!